I used to believe words were harmless, light as air, easily forgotten, quickly passing. But that night, I discovered how a single sentence could slice through love like acid, through silk. My name is Emily. I've been married to Noah for 8 years. And though I've made countless mistakes, nothing compares to what I said that evening. It began like most of our quarrels, over something trivial. The dishwasher, perhaps, or the way he left his boots by the door again. It's irrelevant now. What mattered was the shift in the air when we started yelling. Noah doesn't raise his voice. He's calm, deliberate, a man who thinks before speaking. But that night he pushed back. And God help me, I wanted to win. I still see it. His jaw tight, hands braced on the counter, that vein in his temple throbbing, and me hurling words like blades. Because silence felt like defeat. I can't even recall what I was trying to prove. All I remember is the flash of fury in his eyes when I said it. At least some men know how to make their wives feel like women. Then came the silence. Thick, choking, absolute. Noah didn't yell, didn't storm, didn't throw anything. He just stared as if a part of him had quietly died. I'd seen anger, even disappointment. But this was different. This was the face of a man who knew he could never return. He left the kitchen without a word. I stood there shaking, chest pounding, adrenaline still roaring in my veins. For a moment, I convinced myself he'd come back, that we'd apologize like always. But when the front door clicked shut, a chill swept me. He didn't come home that night. The next morning, I found him asleep on the couch, still wearing yesterday's clothes. He didn't glance at me, didn't pretend to check his phone or sip his coffee. Just sat, staring into nothing. A quiet man trapped inside himself. I tried to apologize. Noah, I didn't mean it, I said. I was angry. He nodded slowly. I know. That's all it was. No shouting, no questions, just those 2 words. That confirmed everything had changed. He knew. And knowing was worse than rage. It was acceptance. The following days felt like sharing a home with a stranger. He didn't vanish entirely. He still brewed coffee, took out the trash, laughed with the kids, answered texts, smiled at neighbors. But never at me. We used to share small touches. A hand brushing mine, a kiss on the cheek before bed. Those gestures vanished. Even lying beside me, there was a chasm. I'd turn to him at night, but his back remained firm, distant. One evening, I found him in the garage, fixing the old lawnmower. Oil scent thick in the air. Noah, I whispered, can we talk? He paused, wiped his hands, and said, I'm listening. I miss you, I said, voice trembling. I didn't mean what I said. You know that, right? He looked at me, really looked, and I wished he hadn't. His eyes held not anger, not hatred, but something worse, indifference. Maybe you didn't mean it, he murmured, but you thought it. And once words like that leave your mouth, they linger forever. I wanted to collapse, to beg, to reverse time. But cruelty has no rewind. Words can't be unsaid. He returned to the mower, and I stood, powerless, watching the man I loved slip away, inch by inch. Weeks became months, and our house felt like a museum, quiet, polished, filled with memories that weren't ours anymore. We went through the motions, actors reading a script we no longer believed in. He cooked sometimes. I cleaned. We smiled in front of friends. But behind closed doors, silence stretched endlessly. Noah had always been patient. Perhaps too patient. Before that night, my sharp words rolled off him. Now he guarded his dignity, like a man. Scorched too many times. Every attempt I made to close the distance, every soft word, every touch, was met with polite restraint. He wasn't cruel. Kind, respectful, gentle with the kids. But with me, too careful, guarded. One night, reading in bed, I whispered, "Do you still love me?" He didn't answer at once. Closed the book, marked the page, looked at me with eyes that once melted me. Love, he said. Yeah, I guess I do. But not the same. Not like before. The words shattered me. I wanted to scream, to tell him I loved him, that I'd take everything back. But he wasn't waiting for my tears. He'd seen them. But now, they fell unnoticed. Weeks later, he began staying out later. Dinners, gym, drives to clear his mind. He never lied. He just stopped offering details. Transparency became updates, polite and thin. I couldn't read him anymore. The old laughter, now soft, unfamiliar, over the phone. I didn't ask who it was. I feared the answer. The old me would have demanded explanations. The new me knew confrontation couldn't fix what I had destroyed. A man can be angry, but a man done is cold air. I lived in it. The final shift came one Sunday. He sat at the table reading the paper, coffee steaming. I wore one of his old shirts, hoping for a spark. He looked up, gave a small smile. You look comfortable, he said. That was all. No warmth, no desire, just comfort, like a friend, not a wife. That afternoon, he packed a bag. I watched quietly as he folded shirts, packed a toothbrush, wallet. Are you leaving me? I asked. He didn't look up. Just taking some space. My brother offered a cabin. I think we both need time. I wanted to beg, to promise change. But I'd made promises before. And belief, once lost, doesn't return easily. At the door, he turned. You know, he said softly, I never cared about perfection. I just wanted to feel enough. The moment you said I wasn't, something changed. I don't know if I can ever unhear it. And then he left. That was 6 months ago. He calls sometimes, asks about the kids, bills, checks in. Warm, familiar. But a quiet line remains between us. I replay that night endlessly. Words flying before I could stop them. Silence, softness, anything but cruelty. Could have changed everything. Now, when people ask, I tell the truth. I destroyed something sacred. Not for lack of love, but to win. And I did. But in winning, I lost the only man who ever saw his whole world in me. Every reflection now holds that ghost. The instant I traded peace for pride, victory for love. Words are air, they say. But I know better. They haunt. They cut.